Hello, everyone. I am Chuang. Let's draw a Chinese pangolin, a weird-looking mammal. Its whole body is covered in scales, making it unique among mammals. Its scales are derived from hair, with texture and assemblies similar to our fingernails. It is such an amazing animal. One feature of pangolins is that their hind legs are longer than their front legs. Like some dinosaurs, it walks on two hind legs. When drawing a pangolin, we should first pay attention to its physical features. Its head is triangular, its face is slender, its hind legs are long, and its front legs are short. A prevalent mistake is to draw the pangolin automatically as a quadrupedal animal, which is not. Its tail is also very distinctive, with a flat-sided structure. The scales on its body seem complicated but follow a certain pattern, like fish scales overlapping one on top of another. When drawing, we should be aware of their arrangement to avoid mistakes. Now, let's get started. The pangolin has a peculiar appearance. When drawing, we should start from its overall outline, because it has many large and small scales on its body. Let's first locate it on the paper. If the head is about this long, its neck is almost the same length, its back is bulged, its buttock is roughly situated here, and its tail will come after. We can draw its tail in an arc like this. Now, let's begin drawing from its head. The top of its head is slightly curved downward, and its jaw is also somewhat curved, making the head shape like a triangle. Its mouth should be thinner. Draw its mouth, which is relatively small. There is its nose on the side. Then, we draw its eye near the back of its head with a round, small, black dot. It has ears like ours. Behind the head is a curved neck. Then, we draw the line arched upward to form its back. The shoulder part is relatively narrow. The arms are about here, followed by its hind legs. Its torso is narrower at the front and wider at the rear. Then, let's draw its forelimbs. Its upper arms are very thick. Its forearms are triangular and thin. We will draw it in a walking posture. When it walks, it lifts its front legs off the ground, and adopts bipedal walking like many herbivorous dinosaurs. Its hand has 4 fingers. 3 have large claws that are curved backward. The thumb is smaller. Let's draw the other side. The thumb comes first, followed by the other 3 pretty sharp claws, which are used for digging earth. This is also why the pangolin got its Chinese name, Chuang, which translates as scaly animal that bores through the mountain. Next, draw its hind legs. We can draw the thigh fused with the torso. The knee is here but invisible. Its lower legs are short and nearly triangular. Its hind feet have 5 toes, the inner 3 have sharp claws, and the other 2 are short. Then, draw the other one with a big claw on the inside. Now, let's move backward to draw its tail. Its tail is not as thin and short as that of mammals but thick, like many dinosaurs. The tail can balance the front half of its body when it walks. Like this, its overall outline is almost done. We continue to draw its scales. Its scales follow a certain pattern, like fish scales. We start from the part behind its head, as the scales only cover the front upper half. Behind the head, we can draw its whole body covered with scales. Its scales are arranged like many fish scales, overlapping in neat row after row. When coming to the shoulders, the scales should not be drawn on the arms for the time being. Leave the arms blank for now. Draw the upper part of it first. The number of scales in each row will not change much, but as the torso becomes broad, the scales should be larger and larger. The depressed part of the scales in the next row should face the bulged part of the scales inside, which will make it easier to draw. We can also stop drawing them when we reach the legs because the scales on the lower legs will have some changes. When drawing its tail, we should notice that the lower part of its tail is flat from a cross-section, so we can first draw a line on its side to represent the boundary of its scales. As the tail becomes thinner, the scales become smaller and smaller. Now, let's go back and draw the scales on its head. We first draw the scope of scales atop its head, starting slightly behind the nose, going around the eyes and the ears, and then stopping here. After that, start from the posterior and draw forward, linking to the scales on its neck. When coming to the top of its head, the scales will get smaller and smaller. Similar to those on its body, these scales are also fish scale-like. Then, let's draw the scales on the arms. The scales on its body are arranged like this, but from this part of its arms, they will change their orientation and go downward. The first row still needs to extend from the side of the body. We stop drawing them when near the hand. There is no need to draw scales on the inside of the arms. The same goes for the legs. Their inside is relatively soft. The scales can end at the edge. The scales on this leg can be presented in the same way as the arms. The difference is that the scales on the legs are broad, like bricks on the wall. In this way, we have finished drawing this Chinese pangolin.